Hey, what's up, TheRoughCuts? It's Jim. Today is Tuesday, and today's film is Crybaby Lane. Now, Crybaby Lane became rather infamous lately because of a thing on Reddit.com. This film aired only once on Nickelodeon. It's a Nickelodeon TV movie from 2000 that aired on Friday, October 28th at, I assume, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, with an intro by Melissa Joan Hart with a special cameo by Brian Austin Green for some reason. Parents complained that it was too scary and that Nickelodeon decided they were never going to air it again because it was too controversial. That apparently isn't true. Nickelodeon and the director have never heard of any of this about a controversy, or at least the director said he never heard about it, Peter Lauer. And Nickelodeon's like, yeah, we've never heard of this either. You know, we just didn't air it again. Most likely because they didn't particularly like it. It's considered this lost movie. It was never released on VHS. So if you didn't record it on VHS on October 28th, 2000 with the Melissa Joan Hart intro and everything, you could never see it. I've heard about it for a little bit through articles and through the publicity from the Reddit thing and how they eventually put it on YouTube. And then Teen Nick was going to play it on Halloween night. And they did, and they aired it 2 times, which is 2 more times than it's ever aired before. These Siamese twins, who their father was a farmer, and then he was ashamed of them, so he locked them in the room, and one was good and one was evil. And then one of them got a disease. I forget which one, but doesn't matter. And since they shared the same liver, they both died. I guess it was some liver thing. And then they cut them in 2 when they wanted to bury them. The evil one was buried at the end of this road called Crybaby Lane, and the rumor was that you could hear him crying because the good son was buried in the cemetery. These 2 brothers hear this story. They go do a prank in the cemetery where they put a tape recorder next to the headstone to scare these girls who they like. And when they do it, to put the tape recorder thing there, or the tape player, they move this like branch, and supposedly this branch comes from a weed that comes out of the heart of the body in the grave, but they don't know that. They just move it to put their tape recorder there. And then because of that, they release the spirit, and then he possesses the older brother, who's more of, the meaner brother, and the younger brother isn't possessed. And then they find out that the grave that they're at isn't actually the good son. They made a mistake, and the crying is the good son on Crybaby Lane, and the bad son is in the grave in the graveyard because they screwed that up. Crybaby Lane is in the vein of Goosebumps and more Are You Afraid of the Dark than Goosebumps. And this director, Peter Lauer, he directed Pete and Pete. That's where he made his directorial debut on a Pete and Pete episode. He directed Alex Mack. He directed Arrested Development as well later. There was nothing actually about it that was too scary for it to get banned even in 2000. There's one scene that I guess that's kind of a little pushing it farther, where the older brother somehow gets the younger brother to fall in mud, so all his clothes are covered in mud. He takes all his clothes off, and then he's just in his underwear, and then he goes, go near the space heater, and he goes near the space heater, and it's like, hey, there's no space heater here. And then these girls pop out, the girls that he liked before from the graveyard, and they throw eggs at him because they're also possessed by the evil brother, Siamese twin guy. And then a bull attacks him and stuff, and that seemed a little, I don't know if that's really that traumatic. That seems like it would suck to actually go through, and maybe that was a little intense, but that kind of was about it. It's just not that great. It's just a alright kids movie for Halloween. I feel like someone had to justify liking this movie for so long, and their justification was a lie, which is that this was pulled off for controversy. If anyone can find anything that actually shows that this film was at all controversial, or that parents demanded it not be shown again because it was too scary, fine, bring it forward. But until then, I really just view this as someone who had this on tape, liked it a little too much, and needed to justify it. And, maybe I'm totally wrong on that theory, but that's kind of just how it feels to me, because it's not that great of a movie. I'll never watch it again. I don't think it was bad enough to have been forgotten about. I don't think it was that awful or anything. And it's interesting they did get Melissa Joan Hart to introduce it, and she was actually kind of a big star at the time, at least for Nickelodeon. I was hating kids' horror movies like Everybody Lives. Like, that's that's not scary, you know? Thank you very much for watching Rough Cut viewers. I will be back next Tuesday. And subscribe to my main channel. Follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, and potentially VHX. And follow Earl Barrett Holloway's Tumblr as well, who did the drawing at the beginning and end of this video. And that's it.